Hello guys, this is Benjamin John Mark from Sanctuary Design School, and I'll be taking you on the second part of our introduction to Sketchup. So this is going to be the part 2, and like I said the last time, we are going to be building up on what we did the last time. The last time I introduced you to the basic tools that I'll be using. Today we are going to be trying to use those tools to do a couple of other things. Then I'll introduce you to other functions within the Sketchup software. So right now I want to start with this lady you are seeing over here. I want to try to explain something before we proceed by using this. Now, first and foremost, when you open SketchUp, you have this lady appearing. It could be a man depending on the version of SketchUp that you are using. But for this one, that's SketchUp 2016, we have a lady over here. So the first thing I want you to do is to open on this tray here. You check down here, you see styles. Click on it. Then under styles, you see the first thing I'm seeing here is select. The second thing is edit, and the last one is mix. Disregard the other things you are seeing and click on edit. Under edit, if you notice here, edges is marked, profile is also marked, extension is marked, endpoints is also marked. I want you to uncheck all of them, excluding the only one you need to leave checked is edges. Now I want you to notice while I was unchecking everything, let me go back to the way it was before. You can see the woman looks kind of like rough. The lines are not neat, they are kind of like not clean. But as soon as I come here and I unmark, starting from profiles, you see something has started happening to the lines over there, extension and endpoints. We now have a neat line, a neat outline for this woman. That is that about that. And the second thing I want to say about her is, as soon as you've done everything concerning the styles and all of that, you should right click on her and erase. Why are you doing that? You don't need her over there. So to create room and space for you to see what you are doing properly, you have to take her off there. Now I talked about all of these tools the last time we spoke, and today I'm going to speak more on some of them and show you what they can do. First and foremost, I want to start with the line tool. But before I say anything about the line tool, I want you to notice something. This is the origin of our 3D axis. Whatever you want to do, you should try as much as possible to start from this midpoint. That is where these three, the blue, the green, and the red lines meet. That is your origin. As much as possible, you should start from that point. So right now I'm going to pick my line tool, which is this tool that is like a pencil over here, and I'm going to do something. I'm going to draw a line from here to here. I click right, you can see we've gotten a line. I'm going to draw another line from here to here. You can see that, right? I've clicked another line. I want to draw a line from that point down here where we started from. I've clicked that. You can see as soon as I click the last point, we have this surface appear. Now that is how SketchUp works. Everything starts with a line, and from a line, when all the lines are joined, you now have a surface. Without a surface, you can't really work. Your push and pull over here cannot work without a surface. Your push and pull cannot really work on a line. It only recognizes a surface. You can only push and pull a surface. So whatever you're going to be doing, you have to first make sure that you have a surface to work with. Now I'm going to go over that again. Let me say I start over here, I click and I draw a line of 3 meters, right? You can see that it will show over here. I draw a line of 3 meters, right? I click, I go up here, I draw another line of 3 meters, click, go over here, another line of 3 meters, click, and come back. Let me undo that, escape, undo the last thing that I did, and click here. I think I have a mistake somewhere. Let me check what, yeah, you see I have a problem over here, so I have to wipe it off. Now let me go over that again. Go here on my green axis, I click, red axis, click, and on my green axis again I click. As soon as I click the last point, I'm going to have a surface. You see, as soon as I have lines that are joined, I'm going to have a surface. So I've done that, and I have a surface. Now I'm going to pull this surface up. We talked about push and pull the last time. I'm going to use it now to pull this surface up to create a box. Now you see, from a 2D surface, let me undo that and try to do it again. From a 2D surface, which is this, if I pull up, we have a 3D surface now. You can see that, right? We have a 3D surface. Now I'm going to try to explain something that is very important with this. Let me try to pull this up also. Yeah, I just did. Now you see, I want to try to explain something briefly before we proceed. Now let's say this is my select tool, right? This arrow over here is my select tool. If I pick it, when I click on this surface, I have selected that surface. You can see the surface has a series of tiny dots. When I click on any surface, you can see, as soon as I click on any surface, I have selected that surface. Now I click on this, I've selected the surface. But if I want to select, let me zoom in so we'll see clearly what I'm trying to explain. If I want to select not just the surface, but the surface and the lines bounding it, that is these 4 lines bounding it, what do I do? What I need to do is, instead of just clicking like this, all I need to do is double click. As soon as I double click, you can see not just the surface is selected, but the lines bounding it. You can see that, right? The lines bounding it have also been selected. Now that is how you select a whole surface plus the lines bounding it. Now let me try a third thing again. Now how about if I want to select the whole box? What do I do? Let me wipe this off so that I will not get everything mixed up. Erase, yeah, so we'll see only this. Now if I want to select the whole box, what do I do? All I need to do is click on the box 3 times. You see, 3 times. As soon as I click on it 3 times, the whole box will be selected. Now let me go over it again. The first thing I did was I clicked once just to select the surface, right? I go back, click twice to select the surface and the lines bounding it, right? That's, and what about I want to select the whole thing? I click 3 times and everything will be selected. You can see it, right? Yeah, that's how to select the whole of your surface. The whole of your build, your object. This object could be a building, it could be a lampstand, it could be a chair, it could be anything. You get. Now alternatively, if I want to select the whole of this, I could just click outside, right? Then move. You can see as I'm moving, a box appears. A box appears. Now this box, as soon as it covers the whole of that object, everything becomes selected. I'm going to go over it again. All you need to do is come outside somewhere around the box, click, and don't release it. Click and drag. When you drag and you leave it, the whole thing will be selected. Now that is that on selecting. Now I want to explain something else before we proceed. Now you see, when I turn my objects, my plane this way, I want you to take notice of something. We have kind of like an area over here and an area over here. Now this area is actually your sky, and this is your ground. Again, this is your ground, this is your sky. I want us to take cognizance of that. We'll be talking about some of these things later. Your sky and your ground. Your sky and your ground. Your object is supposed to be on your ground, not floating in the sky. You can see when I turn it this way, it's actually on the ground. So you have two planes, your sky and your ground. Now that is that. So I'm going to deselect this and explain something. The last time I was talking, I talked about my measuring tool. I didn't really explain it in depth, and I remember saying something like I'm going to show you something else that does. Now when I pick my measuring tape, I say something. I said you can use it to measure, let's say, a distance from here to here, right? That's 3 mm. Yeah, you can use it to measure that distance. But there's something else you can also use it to do. What is that thing? Now you see, if I want to get a line running across over here, let's say I want to measure 1 mm down with a line running across here. What do? It's simple. All I need to do is click. You can see, click on the edge of this. You can click on this edge and drag down. You can see as soon as I drag down, a dotted line appears. Now as soon as I do that, I can impute the 1 mm and enter. As soon as I do that, you can see that line has appeared over here, 1 mm. Let me measure it so we're sure it's actually 1 mm. Let me click from here to here. You can see that, right? It's showing over there, it's 1 mm. Now that is that. But I want you to understand something, that line is not really a line. It's just kind of like a guideline. It's a measurement line. It's not really a line. To make it a line, all you need to do is pick your pencil, your line tool, and click from here. You can see a star appears. That is to show you that it's actually at that point. Click from there to here, and now you can erase it, and now this is a line. What you were seeing the first time is just like a measurement line to tell you where the points are. Now you've defined the line. Alternatively, let me undo that. Control Z is undo, please. Control Z is undo. I've been saying undoing. I'm trying to undo since, and I didn't say I'm doing that. Control Z is actually undo. Let me undo the line that I drew. Now, alternatively, if you do not want to use your what they call it, your line tool, I told you if you click over here, you have other shapes. So I'm going to change this circle to rectangle. I've changed it. Now, alternatively, if I do not want to use my line tool to create that line from here to here, all I need to do is I use my rectangle tool. But for my rectangle tool, I also need 2 points. If I click on this place and I go up here and I click, I already have a line over that place, so I can wipe this off now. Now the same way I got this, I'm going to try to get another line over here. So I'll pick my measuring tape, and from this place click and drag. You see I've dragged it 1 mm also inside. Now I pick my pencil or line tool, I click. You see that, right? I now have this. It's as simple as that. I can wipe this off now. Now, as soon as I have that, if I want, I can measure something else here again. And do this. I'm repeating the whole process over again and wipe this off. You see that, right? Now, having done that, I can push this inside. You see, right? I've pushed this inside. I can pull this out. You see that, right? I can pull this out. I hope you are seeing what I'm doing. I can decide to like create another one over here. Yeah, it's becoming more fun, right? Yeah. Create, do this over here, wipe this off. I can push this down. Let me turn it so you see what I've done. You see that, right? I've done that. The next thing I'm going to talk about is, let's use this same whatever it is that I've created to explain something else. And what is that something else I'm going to explain? It's group and components. Group and components are kind of similar, and at the same time they are different. You get, I could create, I could do this. I'm going to select the whole of this, right? I'm going to right click and say make group. Now I've made this into a group. You can see as soon as I did that, the whole of this has a box surrounding it. That is a group. What does it mean? Every part of it is joined together. They are not separated. You get, they are not separated. Every part of it is joined together. If I click out and I click on any part of it, you can see it's as if it's one big chunk of whatever it is that I created. So every part of it is joined together. So I'm going to click out. Now I'm going to undo that and show you what I did again. Now you see, before I grouped, if I click on any part, it's just that part that is going to be selected, maybe a line or a face or whatever it is I click on. Only that part is going to be selected. That means every part that makes up this mess, this whatever it is they are basically on their own. But if I highlight on everything, you see, and I right click and say make group, this box appears and everything becomes joined together. It's like they've been glued together. You cannot separate them. They've become a whole mass, just one single mass. So you see, it's now one. Now that is a group. Now let me copy this group. Control C, or if you just pick your move tool and press Control, you see as soon as I press Control, a plus sign appear close to the arrow. That is to tell you I can copy this now. So I've copied it over here along the green axis, right? A distance of 9 mm along the green axis. Now that is that. I've copied that. I'm going to try to explain that copy again. Control Z, that is undo, so that I'll explain again. If I want to copy this object, what do? The first thing I do is I pick my move tool over here, right? I press Control down. You could press Control C. Yeah, you could press Control C if you like. And as soon as I do that, I press Control down. A plus sign appears close to this my move tool, telling me that I can duplicate this. So I pick from a point and move it to wherever I want it to be. Now I've done that, right? Now that is that. Now I have 2 copies of this. You see, I have 2 copies of this. But now what I'm going to do for one of the copies, you know, initially what I did was I made this into a group. So this is also, it means this is also a grouped object. You get a copy of this. So, but a second time, I'm going to right click on one of them and say make component. You see that, right? I've made it into a component. Now I'm going to highlight on this, on the 2 of them. I'm going to make copies of them. That's press on Control and move a distance of 8 mm, right? Now I'm going to say 5x, that's 5 times. and enter. It's going to duplicate that 5 times. You can see that, right? Now I'm going to explain. Remember, this was just grouped, but this have turned into components, right? This over here, these ones I have over here are just groups. This is a component. Now this is the difference between a group and a component. Now see, if I double click on this, double clicking on a group or a component takes it to edit mode. That is, you are trying to edit that group or component. You can go into edit mode 2 ways. One is either you right click on whatever it is you want to edit, and under here you see edit group. You get edit group. Or if it's this that I want to edit, I can right click on it and you see edit components. Alternatively, I can double click on whatever it is I want to edit, a group or a component, and this box appears. When this box appears, that means I'm in edit mode. Now let me do that with this. Double click, the box appears. That is edit mode. Or alternatively, edit component, the box appears. You see that, right? Now let me edit this. Now if I pull this up, you see that, right? I pull this up or push it down. I pull this out. It's whatever it is I'm doing here, it's happening to just this one. You can see the rest of them remain the same. You can see, right? Now let's say I come out. Now let me do the same thing that I did here to this component. Double click. Let me pull up. Pull up. You can notice whatever I do to one of them happens to the rest. Whatever I do to one of them happens to the rest. Now if I pull this, the rest will also be pulled out. Pull this. Pull this. Whatever I do here shows on the other ones. If I create a circle on top of this and I decide to push it down, it appears on the other one. If I add, let's say, this color to this, it appears on the other one. It appears on the second one. You get? But for groups, if for instance I edit and I add materials to this, it appears on only that one. It doesn't affect the rest. Now that is the difference between a group and a component. Very important. We are going to be using these things for more practical things on our subsequent tutorials. Now I think after explaining all of these things, that is where we are going to be stopping for today. In our next tutorials, we are actually going to start proper modeling using an understanding of all of these things that we have done in the first part and the second part. Thank you for watching, and I would like you to like this video and subscribe so that you get subsequent videos, and I would love to get your comments also. Thank you very much.